The market doesn't care if you had a bad day. The alarm clock doesn't care if you're tired. The weights at the gym don't care if you're not in the mood. And the bills, they sure don't care about your feelings. That's the first lesson you need to understand about success. The grind, that daily, consistent effort required for achievement. It doesn't care about your feelings. Now, some folks hear that and think it sounds harsh. They want a kinder truth. But I'm not here to tell you what sounds nice. I'm here to tell you what is. The universe operates on principles, not emotions. Gravity doesn't negotiate. Winter doesn't delay because you forgot your coat. And success doesn't come because you want it to. It comes because you worked for it. You know, I used to think if I wanted something badly enough, it would happen. What a mistake that was. I was mixing up wishing with working. They're not the same thing. Wishing belongs to dreamers. Working belongs to achievers. Have you ever noticed how some people seem to always get what they want? It's not luck. It's not connections, though those can help. It's because they understand this fundamental truth. Results come from actions, not intentions. They don't try to feel their way to success. They work their way there. I remember talking to a young man who told me, Mr. Rohn, I really want to be successful, but I just don't feel motivated every day. I told him, son, successful people do what needs to be done whether they feel like it or not. That's the difference. That's the secret hiding in plain sight. Your feelings are like the weather. They change. They're inconsistent. If you build your life around how you feel, you'll build an inconsistent life. But if you build your life around principles that work regardless of how you feel, now you're onto something powerful. Look at any successful person. Truly successful, not just lucky or born into it. What do they all have in common? They show up. They do the work. They keep their promises, especially the ones they make to themselves. And they do it all, whether they feel like it or not. That's what I mean when I say the grind doesn't care about your feelings. It's not personal. It's just the way things work. The grind is neutral. It gives back exactly what you put in, no more, no less. It doesn't punish you for having bad days, but it doesn't reward you for them either. Understanding this isn't negative thinking, it's realistic thinking. And realistic thinking is the foundation of positive results. You can't solve a problem you refuse to acknowledge. You can't overcome a challenge you pretend doesn't exist. Now, let's talk about personal responsibility. This is where the rubber meets the road. Most people want to know the secret to success. They think there's some hidden formula, some magic words. But the real secret, it's taking complete, total, and absolute responsibility for your life. That's it. When you take responsibility, everything changes. Because when you're responsible, you have the ability to respond rather than react. You move from victim to victor. When I was starting out making minimum wage, I complained about taxes. I complained about my boss. I complained about the economy. And you know where all that complaining got me? Exactly nowhere. It wasn't until I stopped blaming and started claiming ownership that things turned around. Let me tell you something powerful. No one is coming to save you. No one is going to make it easier. No one is going to do it for you. And thank goodness for that. Because if someone could do it for you, they could also take it away from you. Your life is your responsibility. Your success is your responsibility. Your happiness is your responsibility. Once you truly accept this, it's actually liberating. Because if it's your responsibility, it's within your control. And if it's within your control, you can change it. Some people here take responsibility and think it means take blame. Not at all. Taking responsibility isn't about blame. It's about power. When you blame others, you give away your power. When you take responsibility, you take back your power. I remember working with a company where morale was low. Everyone was pointing fingers. It's management's fault, it's the economy, it's the competition. You know what turned it around? When people started asking, what can I do differently? That simple shift changed everything. The moment you ask, what can I do? Instead of why is this happening to me? You move from passenger to driver in your own life. And let me tell you, the driver's seat is where all the power is. Personal responsibility means understanding that while you can't control everything that happens to you, you can control how you respond. You can control your attitude. You can control your efforts. And those things determine your destiny far more than circumstances ever will. Taking responsibility doesn't mean it's all your fault. It means it's all your game. Your life isn't something that happens to you. It's something that happens through you and by you. So when the grind gets tough, and it will, don't look for someone to blame. Don't wait for someone to make it easier. Ask yourself, what can I do right now with what I have, where I am? That question changes lives. It's changed mine. Now, let's talk about something that trips up a lot of people. The difference between discipline and motivation. Motivation is a feeling, and like all feelings, it comes and goes. It's unreliable. It's inconsistent. Some days you wake up and feel like you could conquer the world. Other days you can barely get out of bed. If you depend on motivation, you're building your success on quicksand. Discipline, on the other hand, is a decision. It's a commitment you make once and keep every day. Discipline says, I will do what needs to be done, whether I feel like it or not. Discipline is reliable. It's consistent. It's the foundation that doesn't shift with your moods. I've met thousands of successful people over the years. You know what none of them ever said to me? None of them ever said, Jim, I just feel motivated all the time. What they did say was, I've learned to do what needs to be done even when I don't feel like doing it. Think about it. If Olympic athletes only trained when they felt like it, they'd never make it to the Olympics. If successful entrepreneurs only worked when inspiration struck, they'd never build lasting businesses. If parents only parented when it was convenient, they'd raise troubled children. The truth is, success is often boring. It's repetitive. It's showing up day after day, doing the same important things over and over again. It's practicing fundamentals until they become second nature. It's doing the right thing, not the easy thing. I remember talking to a young basketball player who wanted to go pro. He told me he practiced when he felt in the zone. I asked him, and how often do you feel in the zone? Maybe once or twice a week, he said. I told him, the players who make it to the NBA practice every day, whether they're in the zone or not. That's why they get in the zone more often than you do. You see, discipline creates the conditions for motivation to occur. When you show up consistently, when you put in the work day after day, you start to see results. And those results fuel your motivation. But it starts with discipline, not the other way around. Let me share something that might change your life. Don't prioritize your schedule. Schedule your priorities. Most people look at their day and ask, what do I feel like doing? Successful people look at their priorities and ask, when will I do what needs to be done? Discipline is choosing between what you want now and what you want most. It's saying no to good things so you can say yes to great things. It's making deposits today so you can make withdrawals tomorrow. And here's the beautiful thing about discipline. It gets easier. Not because the work gets easier, but because you get stronger. What once seemed difficult becomes routine. What once required all your focus becomes habit. But it only happens through consistent discipline. So when the grind gets tough, don't wait for motivation. Choose discipline instead. Make the decision once, then follow through every day. That's how champions are made. Let's talk about something most people don't want to hear. Success has a price. Everything valuable has a cost. There's no such thing as something for nothing. Not in nature, not in business, not in relationships, not in life. The question isn't whether success has a cost. The question is, are you willing to pay it? I meet a lot of people who say they want success, but what they really want is the results without the process. They want the benefits without the burdens. They want the payoff without the payment. Life doesn't work that way. You want a successful business? It'll cost you time away from family, sleepless nights, financial risk, and countless hours of unglamorous work. You want a healthy body? It'll cost you sweat, dietary discipline, and saying no to momentary pleasures. You want meaningful relationships? They'll cost you vulnerability, compromise, and sometimes difficult conversations. Nothing of value comes free. Nothing. The price might be paid in time, energy, money, sacrifice, risk, discomfort, or all of these. But there's always a price. I remember a time when I was complaining about how hard things were. An older, wiser businessman said to me, "Jim, don't wish it was easier. Wish you were better." That stuck with me because the price doesn't change. The only thing that can change is your capacity to pay it. Here's what's interesting. Most people actually know this. They know success has a cost. They're just hoping someone will give them a discount. They're hoping there's a sale on success this week. There isn't. The price is the price. But here's the good news. Why you can't lower the price? You can increase your ability to pay it. You can get stronger, you can get smarter, you can get more skilled, you get more disciplined. And when you do those things, what once seemed like an impossible cost becomes manageable. So instead of asking, how can I make it easier? Start asking, how can I get stronger? Instead of looking for shortcuts, look for ways to increase your capacity. That's where the real leverage is. The price of success is paid in full, not in installments. You don't get to negotiate. You either pay it and get what you want, or you don't pay it and wonder what might have been. Now let's talk about something that might change how you see challenges forever. Most people run from challenges. They avoid discomfort. They see difficulties as punishment or bad luck. But what if I told you that challenges are actually gifts? What if the very things you're trying to avoid are the things you need most? Think about it. How do muscles grow? Through resistance. How does immunity develop? Through exposure to germs. How does a sword get sharp? By being scraped against stone. The things you're running from are the very things that will make you stronger. I remember talking to a gentleman who lost everything in a business failure. His partners had cheated him, the economy had turned, and he was starting over at age 50. Most people would see that as a tragedy. But do you know what he told me? He said, "Jim, that business failure was the best thing that ever happened to me. It taught me what I'm made of. It showed me who my real friends are. It forced me to develop skills I never would have developed otherwise." Now, I'm not saying we should seek out problems or create unnecessary difficulties. I'm saying that when challenges come, and they will come, we should ask, what can this teach me? How can this make me stronger? You see, gold has to go through fire to be purified. Diamonds are formed under pressure. And your character, your skills, your resilience, they're all forged in difficulty. The grind doesn't care if you think life should be easy. It doesn't care if you believe you've already had your share of difficulties. But it does reward those who embrace challenges and grow through them. So the next time you face a difficult situation, remember, this isn't happening to you. It's happening for you. It's not a punishment, it's preparation. It's not a roadblock, it's a classroom. Now, let's talk about something that might seem small, but makes all the difference. Daily habits and small actions. Most people overestimate what they can accomplish in a year and underestimate what they can accomplish in 10 years. Why? Because they don't understand the power of small, consistent actions over time. Success isn't made up of big, dramatic moments. It's made up of small, consistent actions repeated day after day, week after week, year after year. It's not about intensity. It's about consistency. I remember meeting a best-selling author once. I asked him how he managed to write so many books. His answer surprised me. He said, "I've never written a book." I was confused until he explained, "I've just written 1 page a day for 30 years. The books are just a side effect." That's the secret most people miss. They're waiting to do something big, something dramatic, something that feels significant. Meanwhile, the truly successful people are doing small things consistently that add up to big results over time. Want to be financially independent? It's not about winning the lottery or making a killing on a stock pick. It's about saving a little bit every day and investing it wisely. Want to be healthy? It's not about a 30-day crash diet. It's about making slightly better food choices every day and moving your body regularly. Want a successful career? It's not about one big break. It's about showing up every day, adding value, and gradually expanding your skills. The grind doesn't care about grand gestures. It rewards consistent effort applied over time. It's not impressed by what you do occasionally. It's impressed by what you do regularly. I often tell people that success is like compound interest. A small amount invested consistently over time grows into something significant. But you need two things: the small amount and the time. Most people aren't willing to start small, and they're not willing to give it time. Let me give you a simple example. If you read just 10 pages of a good book every day, that's about 3,650 pages a year. The average book is around 250 pages, so that's about 15 books a year. In 10 years, that's 150 books. Do you think reading 150 good books would change your life? Of course it would, but most people aren't willing to do the small daily action that leads to that result. This is why I'm such a believer in daily disciplines. The little things you do every day matter more than the big things you do once in a while. Let's talk about something that separates the successful from the merely busy. Everyone gets the same 24 hours in a day. The difference isn't in how much time you have, it's in how you use it. Most people don't have a time management problem. They have a priority problem. They say things are important, but they don't act like it. They claim to value health, but don't make time for exercise. They say family comes first, but consistently put work ahead of family time. Your calendar and your bank statement don't lie. They reveal your true priorities. Regardless, time spent on one thing is time not spent on another. Every yes is a no to something else. Every time you say yes to something that doesn't align with your goals, you're saying no to something that does. There's a big difference between being busy and being productive. Busy people focus on activities. Productive people focus on results. Busy people talk about how much they have to do. Productive people get important things done. I often ask people, if you had to accomplish your most important goal in just 2 hours a day, what would you do differently? It's amazing how much clarity that question brings. Suddenly, all the busy work falls away, and only the essential remains. What gets scheduled gets done. Vague intentions rarely materialize. Specific, scheduled commitments usually do. If something is truly important, put it on your calendar. The grind doesn't care if you feel busy. It doesn't care if you have good intentions. It rewards results, not activity. It rewards focused effort, not scattered energy. Now let's talk about the people around you. There's an old saying, show me your friends and I'll show you your future. The people you spend time with shape who you become. Their habits become your habits. Their standards become your standards. I remember a conversation with a young man who was frustrated with his lack of progress. When I asked about his friends, he described people who spent most of their time partying, complaining about work, and avoiding responsibility. And you wonder why you're not making progress. I asked him. He got very quiet. You can't soar with the eagles if you're scratching with the turkeys. If you want to be successful, spend time with successful people. If you want to be positive, spend time with positive people. If you want to grow, spend time with people who are growing. This isn't about abandoning friends or being elitist. It's about being intentional about your influences. You're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. It's not just a catchy phrase. It's a profound truth. Association isn't just about people. It's also about what you feed your mind. The books you read, the podcasts you listen to, the shows you watch, they all shape your thinking, your vocabulary, your expectations, and ultimately your actions. The grind doesn't care if your friends think your ambitions are unrealistic. It doesn't care if your environment makes it easy to slack off. It rewards those who create the right conditions for success regardless of what others think or do. Most people work hard on their job, but not on themselves. They focus on earning a living, but not on designing a life. They're busy making a paycheck, but not busy becoming the kind of person who can create value anywhere, anytime. This is a critical mistake because your income rarely exceeds your personal development. What you earn is directly tied to what you learn. Who you become determines what you can do, have, and achieve. I realized early in life that to have more, I needed to become more. To earn more, I needed to learn more. To attract better opportunities, I needed to be a better person. Personal development isn't just about skills. It's about developing your character, your mindset, your habits, your emotional intelligence, your communication abilities, and your leadership capacity. It's about becoming the kind of person who can handle the success you want. Because success without the character to sustain, it leads to disaster. The grind doesn't care about your potential. It cares about your performance. And your performance is directly tied to who you've become through personal development. Set aside time every day for personal development. Even 30 minutes a day adds up to over 180 hours a year. That's like taking 4.5 40-hour work weeks dedicated solely to becoming better. Imagine the impact over 5 years. Over 10. Remember, formal education gets you a job, but self-education makes you a fortune. What you learn after you know it all is what counts. The beautiful thing about personal development is that it's entirely within your control. The economy might fluctuate, the market might change, technology might disrupt your industry, but your commitment to growth is something no one can take from you. Make the decision today to work harder on yourself than you do on your job. When you do, your job becomes easier and more rewarding. Your value increases, your options expand, and the grind becomes not just something you endure, but something you embrace. The grind doesn't care about your feelings, but you should care about the grind. Because the grind, that daily discipline, that consistent effort, that willingness to do what others won't, is what transforms ordinary people into extraordinary achievers. Success is not an accident. It's not something that happens to you. It's something that happens because of you, because of your choices, your habits, your mindset, and your willingness to embrace the grind when others run from it. The path won't be easy, but it will be worth it. There will be days when you don't feel like showing up, when the challenges seem too great, when the results seem too distant. On those days, remember that the grind doesn't care about your feelings. And that's actually good news, because it means success is available to anyone willing to do the work, regardless of how they feel. Don't wish for an easier life. Wish to be stronger. Don't wish for fewer problems. Wish for more skills. Don't wish for less challenge. Wish for more wisdom. Quality of your life is determined by the quality of your choices. Choose discipline over convenience. Choose growth over comfort. Choose long-term fulfillment over short-term pleasure. Choose responsibility over blame. Choose action over excuses. And most importantly, choose to keep going when others quit. Because that's where the magic happens. That's where average becomes excellent. That's where ordinary becomes extraordinary. The grind doesn't care about your feelings, but it respects your persistence. It doesn't respond to your wishes, but it rewards your work. It doesn't care about your complaints, but it honors your commitment. So embrace the grind. Make friends with discomfort. Welcome challenges as opportunities. See obstacles as teachers, and never give up on your dreams just because the path is harder than you expected. You have greatness within you. You have potential beyond your imagination. But that potential will remain dormant until you decide to do something with it. Until you commit to the grind, regardless of how you feel about it. So make that commitment today. Not tomorrow, not when you feel more motivated, not when circumstances are perfect. Today, decide that from this moment forward, you will do what needs to be done, whether you feel like it or not. Decide that your dreams are too important to be left to the mercy of your feelings. The world doesn't need more people who feel good. It needs more people who do good. It doesn't need more dreamers. It needs more doers. It doesn't need more people with potential. It needs more people who convert that potential into performance. Be one of those people. Be the person who shows up when others don't. Be the one who keeps going when others quit. Be the one who does the work when others make excuses. Because at the end of the day, what will matter is what you did, not how you felt about doing it. And let me share one last truth with you. The greatest satisfaction in life doesn't come from taking the easy path. It comes from knowing you faced resistance and pushed through it. It comes from looking back at obstacles that seemed impossible and realizing you conquered them. It comes from the person you become in the process of pursuing worthy goals. I've lived long enough to see that the people who embrace the grind, who understand that feelings are temporary, but achievements are lasting, those are the people who live with the fewest regrets. They're the ones who, at the end of their journey, can look back and say, I gave it everything I had. And I can't think of a more satisfying way to live than that.